All right, hello. Okay, so I feel like recording. I don't know, man. I just feel like I wanted to catch you guys up on some of the things that have been going on in the background or um, outside of Ether raids, I guess. What I've been doing in the meantime, in between time. Just a quick look around at my barracks and stuff. I keep trying to focus, like, because the mic is all the way down there, and then I can't see the screen if it's too far close to my face. I'm trying to figure out the right. But then the audio, I don't know, man. Let's leave it like this because I can actually see my phone now. Okay, so this guy happened. Happened while I was pulling on the spoilers. Spoilers doesn't matter to spoil. Saturday. When am I putting this out? Can I put this out today? Today's Friday. Today's Friday. I feel like just adding this in as a random video. It's not big spoilers. Yeah. So yeah, this guy happened while I was pulling on the Plumeria banner, the spring banner. I do think he's actually pretty interesting. And I think the reason that they didn't give him a B skill is because we got stuff like this as seals, Wily Fighter as a seal. And now that Hector is officially the winner of whatever that thing was, you know what the thing I'm talking about. You know the thing I'm talking about. Now that Hector is the winner, definitely going to be able to build him up if you want to. I think he's pretty decent though. I don't think he's like the worst unit in the world. Like he's good for, you know, well, I don't know. I'll give him a test out once I get the fodder from Hector. Actually, I could just give him like just a B skill and see what he does. I got plenty of Vengeful Fighter, or even Shield Fighter. I think he'll probably do okay with something like Shield Fighter. He doesn't really need this. You could also just remove the armor effective damage and see how he performs. I don't know, but that's just something that's on my mind. I'm gonna give that a test in I don't know, in another in-between video. And then I've been trying to get Hero Merit for Fjorm, so that's what I'm gonna be doing with this run of Tempest Trials. I'm gonna get her to 9,000 and yeah, because I use her all the time, and I think I have Ascended Fjorm at 9,000. Do I? Yes, I do. So it would be cool to accomplish that with both of them. And then I dug Eater out because she's bonus for the Tempest Trial, so I figured why not? I've never used her for anything. So actually, that's one of the topics that I wanted to discuss. I had that thought in my mind, and then also Xander here. I really was hoping to get like what's that game mode? Binding Worlds Xander, but it didn't happen. So I gotta get the Dragon Flowers up. But currently he is pretty decent. I think you know, Haste Slice of course would be great here, but he's good enough even without it, man. You could consider running. Man, I really want there to be like a Pavis or something that isn't Pavis. A defensive version of Haste Slice, or at least a version of Godlike Reflexes for Cavs. And with that, Xander will be complete. Cavs and Flyers, they need that. But yeah, that's the special is missing. This is not his preferred special. And then the C skill is okay, but not exactly what you're looking for. But that's what I got for right now, and I'm just gonna run with it. But yeah, he is very, very good. Quickly become one of my favorite units to use currently as a frontliner. But yeah, one of the things that I wanted to talk about was so I guess the audio is just going to go in and out as I bring the phone closer to my face and oh wait, whatever. But yeah, one of the things that I wanted to touch on real quick was actually, let me not do that here. Let's go here, groups, and then do it. So Cav Beast. This is it. This is all I got for Cav Beast. And these are like the ones that are usable. Now, granted, there are a couple more that I have in my reserves, but out of the ones that we're looking at right here, these two, Freyr and Jimbro, are like the only ones that are actually good. And then between the two of them, only Jimbro is really usable as a combat unit. So that's 1 out of 4. And then I go now to the reserves that I got here. We're looking at Nerthus has fallen off, Mythic. Summer Nerthus is still pretty decent if you invest into her because she's the newest one. And New Year's Nerthus is on the tail and she's starting to fall off as well. And then we got Summer Freyr, who I really only have because this art is simply fantastic. My god. Okay. And waiting for a refine. This guy, Yarn, I'll never use. No attachment to him whatsoever. OG Mythic Freyr, pretty much dead in the water. And Ektonir, Jimbro, just an alt of an already good unit. What would you expect? Yarn again, also dead in the water to me. And that's about it. This is probably not counting what we got. You know, the old ones, like the old ones, the old words, the ones that we've had before. That's why when I was young, I picked up my Thesaurus, or a Thesaurus. I can't even say that now, because I really struggled with things like pronunciation. So I decided to, instead of killing myself and trying to say the same word over and over again until I got it right, why not just learn a synonym? Synonyms were my favorite things in the 3rd grade. Even past, I want to say like 6th grade. Synonyms were my favorite things because they allowed me to express myself with words that I could actually say, and words that I could spell when I was struggling to remember the alternatives or the originals. But yeah. Side note. So yeah, what is the future for these melee calves? Beast melee calves. It's such a weird archetype that just seems to fall off very, very quickly. Like, I'm looking at all of these that I have. You know, there's Ranulf as well. I was trying to remember him. And another one that I can't remember that are just no longer really usable. We have Lethe, who is, you know, good to an extent, depending on how you build her. But then, where are you actually using that unit? Because it's not like you can actually bring her into, like, Gale Forcing isn't really a thing with those beast units because there's so much investment to get it to work. You're better off just going with an infantry unit, and then the cav mobility sometimes on them is kind of a hindrance. I think the only good archetypes, or the main good archetypes for beast units, are flyers and armors. Beast infantries typically aren't that great, and as I'm talking about it right now, the beast cav units, they typically fall off very, very quickly after they come out, in comparison to just regular melee calves, or even the dragons. The dragon calves, they don't fall off like right away. They typically have some type of unique gimmick that allows them to function for a lot longer. Looking at someone like Ymir, for that as an example. But yeah, beast calves, what is the future for? I feel like they have, or at least these modern ones like Nerthus, Freyr, Summer Freyr, and her brother, who interestingly enough does not have, or his ult came out before his original version. Typically in this type of situation, we'd be saying we can't wait for Freyr to get an ult, but he already has an ult, which means his ult will more than likely be getting some type of something to do about cleansing, something to do about cleansing. which is weird because the cleansing stuff is in his perf, right? Let me go double check real quick. His cleansing stuff should be in his perf C skill, but his summer alt did not have a perf C skill. Right. Yeah, it did not have a preferential C skill. So that means it's gonna have to all be in his weapon, which this is a lot to put in a weapon. Yeah, this is quite a bit. I guess they could take out the Resonance Blade and Shield. And the guard. I guess they could take that out. But then he'd have to have all of this stuff. The beast transformation stuff. All of that is typically going to be there. And then the penalty cleansing stuff phase. And the thing that's so weird about it is that his stat distribution is going to be like so skewed to, like, if you don't have him like invested with the dragon flowers and stuff, by the time that he comes out, he probably won't be like the greatest unit to use to substitute for this. I don't know, maybe you'll be better off waiting for this Freyr to get a refine is what I'm thinking ultimately. Looking at the pace that they've been going with the legendary and mythic refines, I think he might get a refine before Summer Freyr. I don't know, we'll see, but that's something to think about. I don't know how they would implement that, or maybe just give him an ult on a backpack or a pair-up or something, a duo or a harmonic, so that they could give the preferential C skill and then give him a weapon. I don't know which I would prefer. I guess it will free up his C slot, but then if you give the refine in his weapon, then that's a lot of real estate that you're allotting to his cleansing effect, and then you don't really have space for much else aside from, you know, the beast transformation stuff. And you don't really, if he also has to get extra stats because Summer Freyr doesn't really hit that hard, so there has to be stats and true damage as well. He's gonna need that, so that's gonna be a long ass weapon description. I can already see it, but yeah, I don't know, man. They're probably better off just giving him an ult at this point, looking at what they could potentially do with the summer version. But in general, these beast units just don't age well. Okay, sorry about that. Alright, so where was I? So yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know about the future for these beast units because it seems like they're always getting left behind in the power curve, left out of the meta, at the very least, in terms of just longevity. I think the one that has stuck around the longest is definitely Freyr because of his support effect. And everyone's pretty much calling for him to get, you know, some type of alternative version that can provide the same support, but is blessable. But I don't think we're getting that anytime soon. And then second to him, I'd probably have to say is this Jimbro right here. He's been the main other Cav beast unit that has really stuck around. I know the Nerthuzes have come in and out of the meta because of their survivability, but it's just looking like they're just not gonna be in there for the long haul, it seems. Whereas Freyr will keep being relevant because of his support, and Jimbro here just hits so hard that it's hard to ignore him. And also he's a mythic, so you get the mythic buffs and blessings and stuff, so I don't see him falling off. So that bodes well for his Brave ults. His Brave ult will probably have decent staying power in comparison to Brave Alphonse, at the very least. But then I keep looking at it like, what makes, you know, Summer Nerthuz in comparison to, I don't know, man, let's say Melee Cav, let's say, who's still good right now? Chrom. I feel like Chrom is cheat. He's cheating a bit, so let's not use Chrom as an example, but Marisa gives Brave support. Lucina, future support, that swap effect is very good. This Harmonic Roy really fell off because of just damage potential, but I think if you build him right, he could probably still put in some work, but I guess there's really no one to really compare Summer Nerthus to. She's just in a class of her own, but then even in that class, she is below Jimbro and Freyr, I want to say, because of just what they do. And I feel like that's probably the reason. It's that a lot of the melee, the beast calves that we have been constricted to just being pure melee units or hybrid melee tanks that can maybe gale force if you give them the right skills. And I don't think that's really what they want to be built as or released as from a design standpoint, if they are going to have any form of longevity in the game. Like, even the fast ones, I feel like they're the quickest to fall off. Looking at Pan and Yarn, Pan is Yarn's mother, right? I think so. That's what she's called, yeah. And Lethe, I feel like they're some of the fastest to fall off just because of the fact that speed creep is a thing, and eventually, no matter how fast you are, you're eventually going to be hitting 0 times 2 if you can't do damage. So it's not great for them to be built like that. And then I'm looking at that in comparison to the new Eater that we have and what her weapon does. It's actually quite it's actually pretty good. I don't know if I'm like overhyping it or overvaluing it, but I feel like there's something here. And if we start getting more units like this, I feel like we could be in for like a whole new unit archetype actually gaining some value. Like, this is not bad. This is very good in combination with what her A skill does. Her A skill is essentially stats, but this is pretty decent. And I like it's giving her more of a supportive role, and we've started seeing a lot of this with Beast Calves from Summer Nerthus. They've really been pushing this a lot more, especially with some of the Beast Calves that have come after her. I mean, it was there before, you know, Freyr of course came before, and what's her face, Ratatoskr as well, but she just didn't have the combat to really back it up. But yeah, I don't see this. I think this Aether is going to do very well in terms of being future-proofed. I think she'll last quite a while. The only concern is, what do you do with her? like Jimbro was a thing because he was so bulky that you could use him in other game modes outside of Aether Raids. You could use him SD in Arena because, you know, he had the bulk for it, but looking at her stats distribution, she's really geared on speed, you know? Terrible res, defense isn't high enough, but she does have those stat swings that will aid her survivability. So what do you really do with that? Where do I use these powerful beast cav units, or the few of them that are usable? Where do I use them? You know, and that's one of the other problems as well. Freyr will always be a mythic, Jimbro will always be a mythic, Nerthus will always be a mythic, but the problem is that she just isn't a very good one because she's purely a combat mythic. There has to be, like, hopefully when they give her a refine, she gets something that's a little bit more supportive. I don't know what that will be, but just having being her whole role is to attack and, you know, reflect damage. And when you start dying when you attack, then what's the point? So, yeah, I don't know, man. They haven't been doing a great job, I want to say, with the beast units the beast cav units that they've introduced thus far. Not that they're bad, but just they fall off very quickly and they make for terrible investments in comparison to the other versions, armors and flyers. I feel like there's always a ton of usage that you can give to any flyer in general, but beast flyers as well just age pretty well, and then beast armors always get everything. you know, when it comes to being a save tank or whatever the case may be. I'm also looking back at this weapon here for Rafale, and I'm like, man, there is a lot of good stuff in here. They basically tried to make him into Seteth, but then I feel like the only downside is that there's no flat DR being given out here, which I mean, you don't want to have too much of that just being given away for free. He has it for himself, but it's not like a support effect. But the stats, pretty close to what Seteth gives out. Pretty much exactly, you know, what Seteth gives out, except, you know, that engage specification. But I think this is very good, you know, I think this is real nice. I feel like there's a unit in here if you give him a B skill. I ultimately don't think Slick Fighter or Wily Fighter are going to be good enough for him. Well, maybe in conjunction with the Armored Blaze, you can get something going there, but I feel like he's going to need a B skill that hasn't come out yet to be, you know, utilized at its full potential. Something like a Reopening Plus, something like that. But yeah, I feel like there's a unit in here. He has a lot of the same stuff that Neathauger has, except, you know, Neathauger is Neathauger and he's not. But it's not a bad unit. Flat DR, defense is fairly high, 49, and can go higher if you have him merged. I don't think he's bad, man. I think he's really good, actually. And I've been getting some pretty decent results, like just in matchups in Tempest Trials, but, you know, take that for what it's worth. It's not really a uber competitive mode. But yeah, those are just some of my thoughts that I had real quick for that. Glad that I was able to vocalize those before I forgot them. There were some other things that I wanted to talk about. Here's Veil. I told you that, well, I'm going to tell you that I'm going to get Veil. This is me in the future telling you that I got her. It's the, I don't know when I'm going to put this out, but it's the order of when the videos are coming out. But, you know, here she is. She's very good. Exactly what I wanted. And also the reason that I was actually doing this, I was thinking that I would just put together a quick SD team and give her a run in SD and see how she performs. Let's actually do that right now. Gotta get this on to Kim Xander, and this is already there. Who gets this? This goes on, I had it on Ira. I feel like Ira is legitimately the best melee nuke. Granted, yeah, best melee nuke in the game. Yeah, bar none right now. She is just that good. She pretty much is my answer to taking out anything that I'm having difficulty killing. And I have no substitutes for her, so we're gonna go with Ira for this this little piece right here. Oh, also, I got like, what do you call it? Regret? It's not regret. I just did a thing, and now well, I did a thing, and now here's Sakura. So, I don't know. I haven't used her yet. But I was watching Eon stream for SDR, and she is like, I was just looking at her like utilization and, you know, how she performed, and my takeaway is that I feel like she is she's essentially Brutal Tempest for everyone else. Essentially, you don't have to fodder your Iras, you just need Sakura, and now everyone has Brutal Tempest, which means that you don't have to tank anymore. You don't have to tank with anyone who isn't an armored unit. And I feel like that's an interesting way to introduce a new design, a new, is that a game? It's essentially change. I don't know if it means that we're not going to be tanking with our infantry frontliners anymore because everything is so easy to KO. But I feel like that's like her, like I feel like that's what's one of the main things that Sakura has introduced. She's made it so that everyone has Brutal Tempest without actually having to run Brutal Tempest, and I think that is something that is highly valuable in every game mode, not just SD. But then also, Sakura herself, like a lot of her versatility, similar to Lucina, rearmed Lucina, or not rearmed, Ninja Lucina. A lot of her or for her, what she does is tied to her using her support skill, the Ice Lock. And if she doesn't do that, then you lose out on a ton of the effects, which is one of the reasons that I'm, in preference of Seteth in compared to being, as opposed to her. I think Seteth is still better. There hasn't been another Seteth. I mean, they tried with Rafale here, what I was showing you earlier, but Seteth is still number one in terms of just everything that he does. But yeah, I feel like everyone having Brutal Tempest is really just geared towards us not being forced to tank things that we don't want to tank, or that we're going to be unable to tank. I feel like we're going to get more powerful melee nukes moving forward, and we're just not going to be able to tank anything. And that's why Sakura it's going to increase her value. I'm looking at it like Legendary Nana is going to get her refine, and that is going to neutralize. We already know that it neutralizes Pavis and defensive specials, which means, how do you tank things? Exactly. So if you can't tank things, then you're gonna have to start running away, and that's why they needed to allow Sakura to do the things that she does. But then also feels kind of heavy-handed, man. I don't know. Unless you're gonna just make units bulkier, but then we've seen it with Rhea. Edelgard still is able to tear through. Ira is still able to tear through. You're just not going to be able to make a unit that's bulky enough to survive all of the damage that we're getting to. So, yeah. I'm struggling to make a team. I don't know. No, I decided that Layla was not going to be on the team, because the team composition needs someone that can cleanse penalties, and the only options are Micaiah and Celine, because Freyr is not surviving anything. So we're gonna go with Celine, because Brave hits Miracle. I guess you could probably run Miracle and Micaiah, but I would need some type of special acceleration. Since I can't get that, let's go with Celine. Now the problem with this team, looking at it right away, who's the one killing things? Like, where's the ranged unit that's actually blowing stuff up? There isn't one. And I'd have to put a save here. Like, what armored unit am I putting in this team, or on this team? Choices: Snake, Nagi. Interesting choice. Red. I feel like there's too much red here. But then also, if I just put Nithogger there, then that kind of solves my problems. Can't be Fjorm. There's not enough speed here for me to put Fjorm in. I'd have to give her Hardy Bearing. I could just... Alright, so, solution. Since my nukes won't be killing anything, I feel like this would be the answer. And this is probably what I'll do. Interestingly enough, I feel like this SDR season has forced me to become a little bit more comfortable playing against Lorether teams. Tree Man here, and team compositions with him. And what I've noticed is that a lot of the people that use this unit don't actually know what they're doing. They're just really kind of throwing around their Lins and their Lucinas and hoping that you mess up, because it's too much information for you to process within the 30 seconds that you get to play against them. And granted, they are correct in that assumption that it is just too much to really process, but if you practice against it and you know what you're doing, it's really easy to play against someone that has a Tree Man or a Loratha on their team. And I'm not really sure what that means. I don't know what that means. Is he like just a bad unit? Because if that's really all that you're doing with him, or actually no, that's not what it means. It means that if that's all that you're depending on to win, then you haven't really done enough to build a team around him. And I feel like you're moving forward, we're going to stop seeing a lot of those Lin compositions, and we're going to see teams that are a little bit more aggressive like this, that take the most out of what make the most out of what Tree Man does. Because if it's just a range matchup, it's really simple. Go with all of your melee units, and typically you should have enough there to be able to take out their aggressive range threats, because typically your Farsave, who is more and more just being a melee unit, we haven't been getting any ranged armors that are good for the longest while, so I don't see that changing anytime soon. And even if it does, we'll still have plenty of melee Farsaves to use, and you just go with your melee Farsave and your frontliner, Ike, Tamara, whoever it is, and you just try to cover the space and push, get in, take out the opponent. It's actually pretty easy to do, surprisingly. Typically what I would have done is just surrendered immediately and not bother to deal with it, but being forced to deal with it, it is actually not the worst thing in the world, and I'm actually even considering letting through Lorathor teams moving forward for like game modes like SD, because yeah, they just, like, if you apply pressure to someone who is Lin Lorathor combination, typically they fold because they don't have an answer for a lot of like, they're just waiting for you to mess up with the save mechanic and have one of your ranged units get sniped. But yeah, as long as your Farsave survives, you definitely have a chance of winning that matchup. It's already 32 minutes and I feel like I've done nothing but yap about things that are pointless. But there were things that were on my mind, and I'm glad that I was able to share them before I completely forgot about them. But let's see here. Let's try to get just a quick match in. Hopefully nothing too stressful. Let's give Xander an actual seal. I was running him with Prime, but I don't think it's the best thing for him. Oh, Sita is very, very good. Love her refined legendary Sita. She puts in work. She does a job now. You can have her as a frontliner, and that's another unit that you can use and not have to worry about Emblem Sigurd. And I'm glad that we're getting more and more of those. So let's see here. Hold on. This is probably my first live recording of an SD match. Let's see how this will go. 5 hits. Who cares about having 5 hits? Let's do this then. Oh, cleansing, but you're not gonna attack, so I guess it doesn't matter. It's fine. There we go. Sigurd right away. Sigurd, Jimbro, Sakura, Lonku. I really love Lonku's design. I wish he got more ults, but I guess he's just not popular enough. But I really do love his design. I think he's a really cool looking unit. Here we go. Jimbro is the only unit that's usable. Melee Cav that we have that's super usable. Let's get going here before I automatically lose.
Understood.
This. So he's a pretty decent frontliner again, because look at that, 74 defense. 74 defense is actually quite high. Snag. Oh, it was detect. Okay. Snag would have been worse because of the sabotage.
I'll pay them a visit.
It's Repo here. And this is why Xander is so clutch.
Let's make merry.
What else do we do here? Let's start breaking some stuff.
Yes.
I'm gonna break this, I guess. Didn't like what he saw.
It's all in
Let's go
bloom.
here. Where are we going? That way?
Sounds like a challenge.
Nah, also saline.
It is time.
So like this. So this isn't really an optimal team, but I mean, just for what I'm doing right now, it's pretty cool. Pretty good, I guess. So this is the reason that I probably couldn't even stream this, because I don't talk.
Getting
I am
warmer.
deep in thoughts. He didn't break the blocks. So,
Let's make merry.
alright. What do we do? What do we do here? What do we do? Okay, I think I see something. Potentially. Question is, does Xander survive against Ekthonir? Ah, he blocked it off. Okay, never mind. Who has the...
On my honor.
Setith support,
I am ready.
blue feud, colorless feud. See, the
On
colorless
my
feud works out every now and then because colorless unit, but he can warp.
As you will.
Yeah, he can warp, so I don't know if I should reposition over there. That doesn't sound like the best idea.
It's all in bloom.
Ooh. Okay.
Getting warmer.
How do I get you up there? Didn't realize that I gave you that.
Let's make merry.
Don't think it's gonna happen.
Show me where.
Alright, let's
Sprouting
just do
strike.
this then. Does he get punched in the face? I got no follow-up, so it should only be one hit, but Fierce Beast. Let's see if Xander dies. Sigurd's range as well. Gotta break one of these ice thingies. Nope, he doesn't like it. Or maybe he's baiting me out. I don't know.
It is time.
Getting
What's your
warmer.
range?
Sounds like a challenge.
Can't step up there, can't swap,
Right.
so let's do this. Is this Shadow Shift? Oh. That achieved inflicting
Understood.
detect.
I am ready.
I'm not in a position to attack,
It's all in bloom.
and I'd like to get into a position to attack. Who hits here? Who is that? Oh, Sakura.
As you will.
I don't know what the right play is here. Let's just end turn with this guy. Still not liking it. Even with the bonus doubler. Oh, he's debuffed heavily. Sabotage. Ah, he did the thing. I was hoping that he wouldn't have done that,
Getting warmer.
but it's fine. He might hit Ira. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can I
Let's
reach?
make merry.
Oh, beautiful. Problem solved. Does she get stuck? I think she does. But
Getting warmer.
I'll take that because it removes the AoE problem. And, yeah, it removes the AoE problem. And that was it. That was enough to win. So there you go. I feel like this is a more appropriate use of Tree Man. Because as long as he's around, I'll be able to just do whatever I want. So I feel like I don't think he's the greatest far save, but with Shield Fighter doing the majority of the work there, you can definitely get some use out of him. But yeah, the Lorathor-Lyn combination is pretty stale. Not stale, but once you've figured it out, it's pretty easy to play against. I feel like this is probably something more in line of what you want to be aiming for. Although this isn't like the perfect example of a team construction or a team build for what you want to use, because I don't even think Veil isn't exactly what you want to use here. But I have her here because of the AoE protection against Sigurd. Even though Xander there are other ways that you could have put the team together so that Xander would survive against Sigurd. But I personally want to go for Veil, and as you can see, that is exactly why I summoned her. She does exactly what I wanted her to do. She is going to be on my SD teams moving forward just because of Sigurd. Can't stand the guy. But yeah, that is pretty much everything that I wanted to say. Sakura's here. I was thinking of like bringing her to AR, to Aether Raids, actually. Not quite sure in what capacity, but yeah, I summoned and now she's here. I pulled on that banner to get Layla. No, not Layla. To get Lilina, because I wanted to build. Did I bench him already? Yeah, oh yeah. Azel. I got Azel's refine and everything, and I thought I was actually really excited to get I was waiting on his refine, like literally just waiting on his refine, because I had so many copies of him that I wanted to merge together and hopefully he would do something. But unfortunately he's not the greatest. This is the stuff that I've given him so far. I was so close to giving him Lagoo's loyalty, but then I was like, he actually doesn't use it well because it's an enemy phase skill, and I don't think he wants to enemy phase things. So that didn't happen. But yeah, I've given him quite a few skills already. So Diamant died for this. So I don't know, man. I feel like it was a bad investment, but we're just gonna keep rolling with it. The decision has been made, and I'm just gonna keep rolling with it. I don't think it's the worst refund in the world. I just wish he had some more true damage, and I don't know, man. The potent, I don't actually like it without desperation, I feel. Without desperation, or even the full potent effect on one of the last hit, I feel like it's just not that great. It's good for, miracle opponents to get that extra hit in, but unless you have him really invested, he's not really killing anything. I really wanted another infantry red mage that could do something. I have Lysithia, but I haven't been using her because Dragon Flowers. 25 is a lot, man. Especially for infantry units. It's a lot for infantry. And I was hoping Azel could just fill a gap in the meantime, but I was using him a little bit and it just wasn't doing the things that I wanted it to do. It didn't impress me. Elamine impressed me. I was actually quite impressed with what she was capable of doing. Refine and Remix turned out to be exactly what I thought it would be a combat refine, which, I mean, to everyone who was thinking that she would counter Freya, no way they were gonna buff her to that extent on a remix. I mean, that's basically a brand new unit. Why would they give that away for free, That's definitely something that they're gonna sell to us in the future. But yeah, she is fairly decent combat-wise, I want to say. Not anything amazing, but she does a job. I guess I can drop this now, but then, res-based special effect. So, I don't know. I don't know what to do with her. The bonus doubler also is kind of weird, seeing how Drimbro also has that, so you could have just given her something else. But the bonus doubler helps out her own combat, but maybe you could have just given her treachery, But then where's she getting the buffs from? But I don't know, whatever, man. I feel like she's decent enough. They really should just go all in on having a healer that just destroys things. I feel like they're kind of pushing Hortensia with that playstyle, but It's just not exactly there yet. But that's pretty much all I got to say. I've been talking for 45 minutes. Yeah, let's wrap it up here before I turn this into an hour-long video about nothing. Anyways, man, GG's. See you in the next one.